Hi guys, welcome to another episode of A Tincture of Sense. On today's episode, no questions. I'm going to be sharing a story with you guys. So I'm going to be telling you a story of a town somewhere in Nigeria that was plagued by a series of unfortunate and untimely deaths decades ago. So now, what made these deaths unfortunate and untimely? Well, people were throwing around words like being stubborn, being strong-headed, having an unwillingness to yield. That's what people were saying were the cause or the causes of these deaths decades ago. Now, it seems a bit hinky to me, so I think let's explore the story so we can find out more about these interesting words that people are throwing about. This story is an example of why Ekiti people are said to be headstrong, obdurate, inflexible, and downright stubborn. We're going to weigh this story. Let's see if we find it wanting. Ekiti State is in the southwestern region of Nigeria. The state was carved out of Ondo State in October 1996. The Ekiti people are said to value education and have produced quite a lot of academics, PhDs, professors, medical doctors, lawyers, and engineers. The Ekiti people are also said to be quite stubborn and are always ready to argue over any point. Some say it's due to them being highly educated. Some say it's because they are innately stubborn. Is there any truth to these claims about Ekiti people? Everyone that watched season 1 of this series knows the only way an entire group of people can be guilty of something is if that thing isn't true. If you didn't know, well, now you do. Anyway, back to the town that was plagued with untimely and unnecessary deaths. If you haven't guessed by now, the town is in Ekiti State. The story about this particular town came to my attention when I heard of a dispute between a husband and a wife. The wife spoke with an elderly man that wanted to talk to her husband about the issue they were having. Now, the elderly man spoke to the husband and afterwards called the wife to let her know what was discussed. This is where it gets interesting. While on the phone with the elderly man, the wife mentioned where her husband is from, Ekiti in Ekiti State. As soon as she did, the elderly man is said to have exclaimed, "You should have told me he was from Ekiti. Of all the towns in Ekiti State, the people from that town are especially stubborn. Back in the day, cars used to kill them anyhow. They were so stubborn that they wouldn't even yield for cars." Quite an interesting story, right? I must confess I laughed uncontrollably when I heard this story. After I composed myself, I called a number of older people from Ekiti State and they confirmed that decades ago, quite a lot of people from Ekiti used to die from being hit by cars. However, they couldn't tell me things like the numbers of people that died over specific periods, the ratio of men versus women that died, how many people died in similar incidents in other parts of Ekiti, and a host of other questions I had. The one thing they were sure of is that the deaths were due to the stubbornness of the people of Ekiti. What I'd like to do is look at these auto incidents from a different perspective. Is it possible that these deaths weren't due to stubbornness but inebriation and ignorance? Kindly bear with me here. At a time when cars weren't as common as they currently are, might inebriated people that haven't been around cars much think that the two headlights of a car are actually headlights from two Okadas? Might these people, in a drunken state, say to themselves, "Oh, I just walked between these two Okadas"? I think it's plausible this scenario actually explains some of the deaths that were occurring in Ekiti. For viewers that think it doesn't, if the deaths were actually due to stubbornness, why aren't they occurring in the present day? Are people from Ekiti specifically, and Ekiti State in general, found a cure for their stubbornness? Is it possible that what happened here was that people already knew, in quotes, that inhabitants of Ekiti are stubborn, and when an unusual number of people started dying in incidents with automobiles, they attributed the death to their stubbornness and inflexibility in a classic case of confirmation bias? As I said earlier, The only way for an entire group of people to be guilty of something is if that thing is not true. Now, in Ekiti State, there will be loads of people that adjectives like stubborn, headstrong, unyielding will fit to a T. On the other hand, there will be loads of people that those adjectives just don't match at all. So before you go out and portray people in a negative light, kindly use a tincture of sense. Just there it is. Just one tincture will be enough. So thanks for watching. Look out for our next video.